Hey guys, it's Elaine Rosales here, and I wanted to talk today about knowing the value of your time. If you find yourself going in circles and just not knowing really where to work on your job, and you just got everything running through your mind, and you just don't really understand what you're supposed to be doing. I mean, you know that you're supposed to be doing something to be able to make your business go to the next level, but you're really confused about what it is, or why it is that you just can't get out of that rut, or you just having a really hard time just you're supposed to be doing all these things, but you just can't get them out. You're overwhelmed with everything else. You might want to take a few minutes to sit down and actually think about what is your time worth. How much time you know does it take to spend on one particular activity, and how much money would you have normally paid yourself to do that? So as a female, a mother of five, and I have a full-time job and a husband, and I'm always doing stuff. I sit there and I tend to think about washing clothes, cleaning my house, exercising, doing yard work, got to go grocery shopping. All these things are a normal thing that I think of in my day. And the mind of an entrepreneur, you cannot think that way. Those things are always going to be there. They're never going to change. That's just how they are. So you have to stop and think, okay, what is going to make me money today? What do I need to do? What money producing activities do you need to do today to be able to make the amount of money that you are wanting to make in a month? And if you've never thought about these things, because I'll tell you, it took me a little while to actually think about this. So, how much money will it take you to make to be comfortable? How much money will it take you to stop having to work? How much money will it take you to be debt free? Whatever that money is, whatever that amount is, you need to write it on a piece of paper. And then, this is a year. How much money a year do you need to make? And then you want to break it down into months. And then you want to break it down into every 2 weeks, to a week, to days. And once you figure out what that number is, then you know how much money you actually need to make per day. And once you know how much money you need to make per day, then you start thinking, okay, what do I need to do to actually make this particular amount of money? Do you need one sale? Do you need two sales? So how many people do you need to talk to in that amount of time? So you know that if you're doing laundry, you're taking up 2 or 3 hours of your time. You also know that if you're watching your favorite show and that show is an hour, how much did you spend of that hour? So if your hour is worth $250, then you just spent $250 watching your favorite show. I'm not saying don't ever do anything fun. I'm just saying to make sure that your money producing hours are just that, money producing. So if you're going to take that hour to watch your favorite show, you also need to make up for that hour somewhere else. If you've gotten, you've had a really good day, and you've gotten 40 or 50 leads and you're not really worried about it, or you got 20 leads and you're only supposed to be getting 10 a day, and you've already talked to all these people and you have free time, that's fine. Nobody's saying you have to just be to the grind every single day, every hour of the day, because if you do that, you'll get burnt out. But the point that I'm trying to make is you need to know the value of your time, but you need to know it down to the penny. Sometimes when you're just starting out, you're not going to know these things, but you need to know how much is your time worth. Is it worth $10 an hour? Is it worth $50 an hour? Exactly what is your time worth? And that way you can start to see things through the eyes of an entrepreneur, and that way it's not just about, oh, I've got all these things. Because honestly, if you have a cleaning lady for $50 to $80 a week, the time that she spends cleaning your house is the time that you get to spend on your business. So you kind of end up having to even out what you can afford and what you can't afford. And really you need to stop thinking about what you can't afford and figure out how you can afford it. Change your mindset. But again, back to our numbers. Try this little exercise. For the next 5 days, I want you to document every time that you're working on your business. How many hours a day are you actually doing in your business? Because a lot of times you can say, oh, I spent 4 or 5 hours on the computer, but were you doing money producing activities, or were you just on the computer? Because a lot of times, unless you write it down and you see it, you don't really realize that it's a money producing activity. You know, whether you are placing an ad, or whether you are um, you know, doing banners, whether you're doing, you know, follow-up leads, talking to people on Facebook. There's all these different things that we use in our business, and so you need to figure out which ones are actually money producing, because scrolling on your phone is not a money producing activity. Neither is scrolling, you know, Instagram or Google Plus or, you know, Facebook. And don't get me wrong, I have a bad habit of sometimes doing that myself. You know, checking your emails is not really a money producing activity. So you need to figure out what is money producing activities and put those at the top of your list. You know, and you know, like I've told you before, put out a calendar and figure out when exactly you're going to work on those. And you know, set a timer. A timer always makes you work harder. It really messes with your subconscious mind and makes you get that task done. So those are my things that I wanted to talk to you today about. Is, you know, write all your stuff down, and then try, you know, this 5-day test of writing down how many hours do you really spend on your business, and you'll be amazed of what you actually look at when you go back and read it, that you're not spending as much time as you thought you were on what you should be doing. Because, you know, I tend to spend, you know, 30 minutes on checking out emails that are just trash, you know, unsubscribing from things. So, you know, that is not really money producing. You know, you can hire an assistant to do those things for you, and, you know, pay her $8 or $10 an hour and still not be, you know, out the money of you and your personal time doing it. So those are my few tips to you today. I'd love to, you know, love for you to go and look at my blog at www.elainerosales.com. There will be a link below this video. You can click on this link after this video and go check out my blog. There's tons of other business ideas that you can use out there. I'd also, if you want to hang out on Facebook, you can look me up at facebook.com/Elaine Rosales. Other than that, this is my tips for you today. Talk to you later.